Today, we're going to talk about the thing that's I find in all the work I do in private sessions with people individually is often the place where there's a kind of stickiness or where there's an impediment to opening fully into true nature. And what that is the realization that there is no objective reality. And so we'll be looking at the premise out of quantum physics is as viewed, so appears, which points to the fact that as we perceive reality, reality reflects that perception. So there are a lot of there's a lot of resistance to this by egos, right? It is not my fault. I didn't do it. They aren't a victim. See, the whole thing is it's not about being a victim or not a victim. It's about seeing how reality works. And when we are motivated to engage in and to see and to have an experience of how reality really works, we have to give up our resistance to the idea that it's my fault. I sometimes teach about the universal human paradigm, which is there's a way that it should be, it's not that way, and it's somebody's fault, right? That's kind of the lens that we mostly perceive through. The reality is that we don't see that. This is from Anna East Nin. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. Right? And that's another pointer. So it often shows up in all different literatures. In William Blake, it was like you have to cleanse the doors of perception. And the New Testament, it's like, first we are seeing through a glass darkly, but then face to face. The face to face is when we've cleared our distortion lens. And so we're going to talk about how that works today. The tool that we use in the Sangha is the 6 Steps to Freedom process, the purpose of which is to use whenever you're triggered, whenever you're reactive, to find out what you concluded about yourself, because that conclusion, I'm not good enough, I don't matter, that conclusion is the information that creates the distortion in the lens through which you perceive reality. So we're carrying with us our reality. We sometimes call it the virtual reality headset, but the head that's got this distortion in it is this head that we that it is each of our heads. Yeah. The experience of understanding this, what it does is it's like the reaching out your arms and reclaiming all of your attention particles from out there back to here, and in that reclamation of your attention, you start to clear the lens of perception. And so when that occurs, you see things as they are, so that when somebody doesn't invite you to their party, you don't see it as they don't like you anymore. You don't see it at all as a trigger, or if it is a trigger, then you have access to doing the work. When we talk about triggers being gold, that's because the triggers are the access to what created the distorted way in which we perceive reality. Now, that used to be interesting. I have a wound that distorts the way I see reality. But when we start to realize that that's caused in the matter of how the world that we perceive and the way that we interact with it. Because if there's a victim perception, which typically one aspect of our wound, most all of the different wounded conclusions partake of a victim perception. I'm not good enough, I don't matter, I'll never be loved, nobody includes me. All of that is the distortion lens, and it all carries the frequency of victim. The interesting thing about the work, do we have another pointer on our list there? We made a little diagram of the topics for today's. I tend to go into the whole Megillah, so to speak, right away. but we can do some work also, which would be good, don't you think?
Well, I had a session with Pali the other day, and one of the things I was grappling with was just always feeling like it was getting a bit mental for me, and I was trying to find where the rubber hits the road. And and Polly was pointing out that like I was saying, the human design transits right now today, last day of it, are, we're grounded by what our true dream is. And so my dream is to be fully awake. And then the sun is in gate 42, which is what do you need to bring to completion for the next cycle? So I was looking at that with her, like, what do I need to bring to completion to fully wake up? And we looked at that manifestation exercise that Polly does, where you're not trying, she said only an ego would have that question, first of all, that I just said. Only an ego would have that question. And then she said, we talked about the manifestation exercise. She said, you're already awake. Like, okay, so if I don't have this distortion lens, I'm already awake. So if we do the manifestation exercise and look at, I'm already awake and I'm coming from that. I'm coming from that place. What happens to that distortion lens? What happens to my perceptual lens? So we started looking at it, the sixth step is one way to get in, but we started looking at it through that place. And we thought about actually going around and seeing, well, what qualities do you feel when you're awake? What's there when you're awake?
Because everybody's had the experience.
Yeah, we've all had the experience of awakening, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Polly, why aren't we realizing this? Hello, come on, And so we kind of were playing with it from a different angle. And what happened for me when I just felt my awakeness was incredible. It was just, I just backed into it. So there's a way that we can also play with this. And you had suggested having people say what the qualities were of awake awareness for them,
mm-hmm.
and then see if we're holding that and coming from that, what shows up in our distortion lens, what happens to our distortion lens, what happens to our perceptual reality when we're coming from that place. Is you guys following me what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one thing that will show up with that technology, that consciousness technology that Robin just described, is that you will bump into what's keeping you from that. Mm-hmm. The minute that you are, I am perceiving through the awake awareness that is my true nature, and you are considering whatever, your budget, your friends, the party, your lover, your whatever, then it's gonna like this against whatever is there that got installed, that is at least a part of, perhaps the major part of, what is obfuscates your experience of your true nature. It's like you can't slip by it. Those damn wounds, yeah. Oh, the signal.
Right. Confirmation. For me, one quality of awareness that I perceive that helped me to come back to my center easily is when I perceive how vast is awareness, spacious.
Yeah, to do that, Linda, you're literally dropping any identity with the mind.
Yeah, we dissolve.
That's right.
I dissolve that vastness and this spaciousness, and it's no me here to grab anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one I am is the vastness. And when everything is moved beyond the me, the limited, fear-based, egoic me, then the vastness is for sure a dominant part of the sense of the one I am. So, what shall we do together?
We are doing it.
We're doing it right now.
Yeah.
This
Any,
is it.
Keep going.
yeah, let's hear, because it helps everybody if we
Totally.
start to map this out and start to like remember those qualities, embody those, allow those, because the mind goes right out to what's wrong, what the problem is. That's the neurotransmitters are all firing towards that. So we're inviting ourselves, well, wait, there's another perceptual reality. It's a perception shift. That's all it is. She says, when I woke up, that's all that happened. It was a perceptual shift. That's the only thing that happened. So we can coochie coo that in a way.
Yeah, take a look.
Coochie coo that, and by remembering, we're already awake. So what's that like? What does that feel like when we have that? So anybody on Zoom or anybody in the room want to share? Linda just did like that fastness. When I did this with Polly on Monday, I just felt like I'm pure space. When I'm looking at I'm looking at my distorted lens, and who would I be without it? I just go into pure space. Pure space. It's just amazing.
I think that who's this?
Christy.
Christy, everybody.
So my biggest one that I had was when I was little. And it just was that overwhelming love that just couldn't hold in this body. Like this, it just was too big. And now when I felt going into it, it feels like loving bliss. But it hasn't been as strong as that. And I feel like I'm looking for that now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a beautiful placeholder. It happens for a lot of children, actually. And it happens for most all of us at different points in our lives. I remember having an experience. I was growing up in LA or Alabama, and I had an experience of in the springtime of a fruit tree. I think it was probably a pear tree. That was just, I was just looking at it, and all of a sudden everything disappeared, and I was it. Kind of like you're talking about the love thing, which is like a love thing. And then I wrote an essay about it because I was in an English class, and the teacher poo-pooed the whole thing. That's why it took me so many years to wake up.
Yeah.
See?
So Polly, if you were working with Christy with this, to be that right now, because
Right.
it's only the perceptual lens that would stop that experience right now. There's no time or space, right? It's totally there. So how would you guide her?
Well, to feel what it felt like, because you have access to that, right? You have access to that. So it's to feel what it felt like and to allow that to be the whole. It's like when Robin talks about coming from here into here, it's like it's all here. It's all filled with that quality, with that experience, with what we call love. And to know yourself as that. Right? So it's a clearing of the lens of perception just through a choice of an experience, right? The reason that we do the work on the distortions, you don't have a distortion around this, you have a limitation that's come from identifying with being a person and with all kinds of experiences in your lifetime over all of these few years that you've been alive. So there aren't any limitations necessarily, but that just the other experiences that come in. So now it's like you're clearing the lens of perception for the return to what you experienced, because that was an authentic experience of true nature. So it's totally available to you.
So I wonder what it'd be like if we all just took a moment and went. I'm sure all of us have had some touch on that, like this, like I can barely tolerate this love. It is so big, my body can't even hold it, right? That's what I remember feeling like. So I just wonder if we all just took a moment here together and just tapped into that experience, what that's like to just be overtaken by, be all love. Just be all love.
The nature of reality is love. It's experienced many ways through the distortion lenses of our mind. But what Robin's suggesting now is that we simply let that go. And that spaciousness that will increase and hold everything. It arises as all of reality. So we close our eyes now.
Just one thing you said to me
Yes.
the other day, which
Yeah.
was, we make shit up about love and the heart. And that's part of what has to clear here,
That's right.
to let this bigness of truth of the
Good.
of love be here.
Right. Yeah. So notice as you open your heart, your mind, your beingness, that the love is arising there. And if you notice anything that's not that, you can put your attention on it and let it go, right? You can just allow it to move and open. This is the heart is the field of allowing. This opening into our true nature is the field of allowing. And it's in that allowingness without resistance that everything can resolve itself into true nature, into the love that it is. And so as we close our eyes and open our hearts, the field of allowing is open. There's no limit to it. It's the opening into all that is. It's the opening into peace, freedom, everything that we value. We are already that, and we connect with that in this experience of the field of allowing. I am the love in which all reality arises. Knowing yourselves as that, it's powerful. It's not a little thing. If there's anything in your life that is not working, you might bring it into this field right now and allow this field, this love, the truth of who I am, to modify it, to catalyze it into the love that it is in truth. Now take a deep breath and open your heart to bringing back into this experience, this externalized conscious experience, all of that frequency of the field of allowing, the love that is your true nature. And so it is. I believe that there's a shift in consciousness that's planetarily occurring right now. I think it's what it looks like, which is confusing and confounding, is that it looks like an extreme polarity. The fall was when we felt.
Before you go into more teaching,
Yes, please.
can we just hear
Oh, that's a good
people's
idea. Yeah.
experience?
I felt like I knew it all.
Yeah.
Let's share.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want to start, Dominique?
Yeah, when we first introduced this, I just went into okayness. The acceptance, the openness, the okayness of everything. And then my little niggly piggy was exhaustion, which for many years has been my challenge physically. And so then I just kind of was hanging out with that, allowing the exhaustion to be okay. So that's where I went. I still square with the exhaustion. But if I have the space, then the exhaustion's okay. If I'm trying to meet an appointment or do something or whatever, then the exhaustion's not okay. But if I'm in the space, then the exhaustion's okay.
It's like what you were having us do, Polly, was hold like your exhaustion in the arms of awake aware, the love of awake awareness.
Exactly, exactly, which makes the okayness, which makes the field of allowing.
And that's always available to whatever's going on to bring it into that conscious awareness, that acknowledged consciousness of it. Instead of, because unless we do that, what we'll tend to do is an old pattern of resisting it.
And one of the things you talked about was the Ho'oponopono and the fellow who did that. You want to just share a little bit?
I think most everybody knows this story. There was a doctor who was a psychiatrist named Hugh Lin, who had been taught by one of the leading women kahunas on Oahu, I think. And he was asked to be the MD doctor psychiatrist at, did you raise your hand? No? Okay. To deal with, I think there were 100 or maybe 90. They were psychiatrically, they were insane and they were criminally insane. In other words, they'd done horrible things. And he started to go there to the institution, and he made friends with all of them. He would share meals with all of them. And at night, he would do Ho'oponopono, which most all of you know is the Hawaiian forgiveness practice. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. It's like an opening into the field that we just connected to. And he did that focusing on each one of the patients, and all except one of them was let out within the next 5 years.
Wow.
But he was only working with the files, because of the field we're talking about that's where oneness prevails. Consciousness is one thing. So that this is why when any one of us wakes up to true nature out of our fear-based polarity, mind, and into our hearts, we're influencing an entire morphogenetic field of consciousness.
So in that case, it's not Dominique doing this to Dominique. It's not personal.
No.
It's not personal. Every time we go to our
It
hearts,
feels personal, doesn't it?
it feels personal, but it's not personal.
But at
That's
the
not
same
the
time, it's not personal. If I let to be not personal, then I'm in the field, and then I'm in the expansiveness of it,
Exactly.
right?
Right. And typically, once we understand that, because all of us are of, if not bodhisattva, we are at least akin to Mother Teresa. And so when we understand how this works, we're more available. We're not feeling so personal about this. I'm such a bad person, or I'm such a great person, or whatever. But we know that what we're doing, the work, is across the board. It is a morphogenetic field of consciousness that is pointed to by the quantum field.
So what happened to me when I went into expansive spaciousness, because I had a Qigong reaction in my body, it activated an injury from a car accident, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And when I went into that spaciousness, and at first I was like, Polly, this is great. This is wonderful. And I don't know how to live here. I know you know how to live here. I don't know how to live here. And she said again, only a person would say that. Only a me would say that. And so I turned that light on my body and on myself. The spaciousness that I had here, I turned to my body. And what happened with that pain was that it arose, but it wasn't personal. It didn't have anything to do with me. It was just an arising. It was so amazing. It was just what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And this is a little deviation, so it's not exactly, but what I notice is the more I'm in it, the less exhausted I am. Right? The more and so then I have more of a momentum, right, of not being in it, and so then it's not as
Yeah,
there.
yeah, because the me that got created out of the early wounding, which created the distortion lens, I'm not good enough, I don't matter. That me is efforting, right? When we identify as true nature, then we're available to the efficacy of love, which is what's real, right? We're available to the high frequencies of connection. And you know, I know most of you know the 100th monkey story, but it was the thing going around in the 80s, I guess. Was it in the 80s? They're people.
Yeah, eighties, it was,
Like the 80s?
yeah.
Yeah, where it was appointed to, and this was like a kind of derivative from Rupert Sheldrake, who's a biophysicist. His theory of morphogenetic fields, that these monkeys who were used to eating sand-coated yams because they lived on like 100 small islands off the coast of Japan. One day, a mother monkey was by the water when the water came over her yam and rinsed the sand off. And she ate it that day. And the next day, she remembered that her yam was a lot better without the sand. And so she rinsed her yam off, right? Now, this is the diet of all of this particular breed of monkeys on all these small islands. So then she showed her children how to rinse their yams. And then her boyfriend started to rinse his yam. And by the time the 100th monkey on that island had started to rinse their yams, all of the monkeys on all the other islands began to do the practice. Because it's a field of consciousness. This was the point that Rupert Sheldrake has always made, the morphogenetic field of consciousness regarding any particular topic. Another example is the 4-minute mile. Before Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, it was just assumed that that was as fast as human beings could go, right? But once he had broken that barrier, then all of these track people all over the planet started to run the 4-minute mile. So we are connected. There is a morphogenetic field around everything. And when we influence that through our love, that the experience of the love that is the nature of reality that we just experienced, and through our forgiveness, then that's the way we change reality.
So when 99 of us drop our distortion lens,
That's it.
then the world shifts.
That's right.
Wash the sand off.
Yeah, no more sand on my yam.
And that's why I find so beautiful what we are doing here today, this experience of awareness,
Yeah.
because give us glimpse of that, and you can embody it, and like the monkey, tomorrow you remember again how to come back to the ocean of love,
That's
or
right.
the space, or the vastness. And just in doing that, we are. Polly keep telling me, I had a session with her yesterday, and I was saying the same thing. I say, how is that possible that I have moments of awareness and suddenly I'm still there 100% identifying with whatever's going on in my life? Where do I lose that? And I think it's sometimes I'm in this space, awareness, vastness, and suddenly something happened and I'm identified with that, and I don't know, I take some time for me to come back to the awareness. So in doing that, we're building memories, cellular memory of our real nature. That is awareness. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's really true. The distinction is that in that awareness, something that shows up is a trigger or a problem or a judgment or the yam with sand on it, whatever. It's like to do the work on that, right? To see that I'm believing something that's intruding into this consciousness of true nature. And it's an impediment to that, right? It's an energetic impediment. It might be a physical impediment. It might be a feeling of being a victim. Most all of the wounds are based at some level in victim identity. So when we see that, in the seeing of it, I forgive myself for ever having believed that I'm bad, that I'm wrong. That's the 6th step, that forgiveness. And the 7th step is to know yourself as the awareness of that. And so awareness is true nature. That's true identity. Awareness, right? I mean, look what shows up in awareness. We have this beautiful island, we have our Sangha, we have the teachings, we have each other in this way. And that's all occurring in awareness, you know? And so awareness is fundamental, and that's our true nature.
So did anybody else have an experience of awareness when in here, everyone just sank. It was like, wow, where are we going now? So if anybody has anything that you want to say about your experience of being awake awareness that will flesh out the field for the rest of us to have something to put words to, or a symbol to, or feeling to. Either in Zoom. Oh yeah, sorry, Linda had a question. Let's go with Linda's question first, and then we'll come back to that. Go ahead, Linda.
Hi, Polly.
Hi,
So, this wasn't tonight, but it was a couple of days ago. I've had different experiences of this, and sometimes it's like just the mind is completely quiet, and there's a feeling of being more fully embodied. But the other day, I had this experience where I felt like I telescoped out of my body. And I was in New York City, and it was like I was above all of it, just seeing. And I mean, I think this is a question for me to answer, but I don't know if that was just my ego trying to do something, or if it was really, I mean, in pathology, that would be called disassociating.
But not if you go to New York.
She was in New York.
Oh, if you were there?
She
I
was.
was in New York, but there was this feeling of just telescoping out of my body. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just wondering if that's ever anyone's experience of just being. I know you've talked about when we're meditating to imagine that we're behind, watching, witnessing.
Yeah,
ourselves.
because awareness is the malleability here that you're pointing to. And I don't think that I think that experience for you in that way was just when we start to open to our true nature, we access some things that we had shut out with the limitation of I'm not good enough or I don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of these things come online. They, in the extreme way, they're like Sai Baba creating jewels out of thin air for everybody. But the cities are one thing, but just the experience of the malleability of consciousness, right?
Yeah, and when I was in my 20s, I used to have those experiences all the time.
Probably acid.
What I just it's like, what would you say, Polly?
I said probably you're on acid, like all the rest.
No, and I wasn't. But I mean, that would have been a good way to get there. But
Right.
So I guess what I'm saying or getting is that I can access it, like you said, in different ways.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's very malleable. That's the way of it. That's what we shut down when we insist on an identity that I'm not good enough or I'm better than everybody else or whatever it is. It's going to be a box it's like being in a cage. And then we're operating out of that cage. It's very limited. And so when we start to open up and drop through our working on dissolving the conclusions that were wounds, right? I'm not good enough, I don't matter. Those conclusions that create a distortion lens, when those go away, then there's a lot of malleability in consciousness and a lot of ease. And yeah. Thank you, Linda. That's a great one.
Thanks, Polly.
Yeah.
Mine came from music. I've been kind of depressed lately, and then I was just trying to think when's the last time I felt a sense of well-being? And somebody made a song circle for me for my birthday. And when we were all playing ukulele and singing, that feeling of like it's okay to be in the world.
Yeah, totally. Yes.
So
Music is a really big part, I think, of holding this world together while we all try to wake up. I think music is really important, and that's the experience, Becky. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, because it's music and singing that holds me together.
Right, that's right. That's right, Bonnie. Your contribution to your voice.
To sing along, it's not practicing lyrics that I can sing with other people.
Right,
Yeah, Colleen.
I feel like that I've been going through an experience unconsciously with this, like especially in the last couple of weeks, and there's been these moments of like, oh, what if there was nothing wrong? It was just everything was just okay as it was. And then it'll last for, maybe a few minutes. And also a sense of freedom. And I definitely had a childhood experience of blending with everything. I wonder if having a sense as we're going through this now, but I think that I have this idea around my true nature that somehow it's gonna get me in trouble. So I think unconsciously, I just like shut it down when
Right.
it starts to open, and I think that's part of all this pain
Yeah.
that I'm having. And so I'm just curious about that. Do you have any?
Yeah,
Thoughts?
well, what I would do, what I suggest for you, Colleen, is to do the 6 steps on that belief.
Yeah,
That I'm back, basically, it's a,
like my true nature is gonna give me.
right, that
Yeah.
I'm bad or I'm wrong or whatever. And to sit with that so that it gets cleared, because it's a distortion in the lens, and it certainly is an impediment to your ease with your awakened state.
What about just what you did with me, like immediately, like who would you be without that thought? Just to
Mhm.
experience that in the moment.
Right.
What is your experience if you're not having that thought that your true nature is going to get you in trouble?
Feel what it feels like not to have that thought.
If you want.
Yeah. Feels like that there's some kind of something pressing against my back. And when I have that thought, it just feels like I don't have to be in some kind of struggle with whatever that sensation is. And yeah, there's a lot of emotions in that. I feel like I could be the baby that I wasn't ever allowed to be.
Mhm.
It's kind of weird. I don't know what that would be, but I guess that what that would look like, but I guess it's just being able to let myself feel that with it. Yeah. Feel that innocence
Right.
and that allowing that innocence.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you, Albie.
Yes, sweetheart. Just bring it all to the field of allowing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think there's part of me that's just really missed that. Probably angry, but I didn't get that. Didn't get to, be a baby.
didn't get to what?
Be a baby.
Right.
Be like unencumbered or
But taken care of.
taken care of.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. Yeah, it's interesting. You said, what if nothing's wrong? That's the name of the book I'm not gonna write.
Yeah, it's amazing to like have that sense, even if
Yes.
it's just for 2 minutes,
Exactly.
to just like feel stuff in my mind. Oh, wow.
Mhm.
If there's absolutely nothing wrong with this.
Yeah.
That's very helpful to me. And that has been coming in. But then it goes out, my brain goes on again.
Yeah.
With all the problems of the life, but more and more I'm seeing that it's all okay.
Mm. That's Krishnamurti's definition of the awakened state when he was giving a Dharma talk. And he said, I know that all of you are here to find out what it's like to be awake. And there's only one difference between you and me. I don't mind what happens.
Yes, yeah,
So when we have something at stake, which we will only have to the degree that we are still identified with the wounded identity, like I'm not good enough. Otherwise, it's just what's happening. It doesn't mean anything about a me because there's no me that got created out of the wound.
It's the feeling of allowing that is so releasing, allowing wherever it's unfolded, it's come to pass.
Right.
And just be, sometimes I'm able to just be mesmerized by what is unfolding without any judgment or agenda. When we do that 45 days awakening challenge, we do a lot of group awareness. Remember that we're still doing that. We still meet with people around the world and online and do that. And for me is after finish those 30 minutes or 1 hour, it's just like really doesn't matter what's happened. Because there's no one here to have any opinion or judgment or be unsafe or blah 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 blah. Just realize that it's so the feeling of fulfillment from the level that's beyond the body mind is
Exactly.
was good or what? Did you get it? Allowing, yeah, just they use also a word with beingness.
Of
Just
what?
the beingness. No name, no label, no
Right.
agenda, no expectation. I got very good experience with what Christy said about love. Because it was saying when you're leading us through that experience, just allow the heart to open and feel this like overflowing of love. That first overflow the heart and after the body and after become the whole universe, and there's no me here anymore. It's too big for containing me.
Exactly. That's right.
It's also a deep sense of peace.
I had a client earlier today who was trying to apparently convince me that there were external circumstances that were fucking with her. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. That would be the universal exception if that were true, but let's talk about it, right? So it's like there could be things in the external that are against me or that impede me in some way that I have nothing to do with. But that's what's not possible in understanding the true nature of reality, this is the reason it's such a high bar, because as me's, as persons, we fundamentally can have varying experiences of being left out, of being put upon, of not being included. All of these things that make us believe there's an out there that's operating in response, neglect, regard, whatever, to us. And that's what's not true. There's no separate external reality. This is the radical nature of reality that is anathema to the fear-based mind. Because the fear-based mind has this setup that there really are bad people, they really are messing with me, and they're not kind, and I'm having a problem. Without any understanding of one's own participation in that arising in your experience. It's never about an other. And that's such freedom, it's such power, it's such ease, and it's like you can take a deep, relaxing breath because you're allowing, and then you can do whatever you do. I mean, we have a wonderful lawyer with us here today, and some of the things he does would seem to include a description that I just made. Is that right, Les? Like there's somebody out here who's not doing the right thing, and it's their fault. But you can have that dynamic going on and do what needs to be done without believing a victim story. How we doing?
Wow, we have 10 more minutes before we go into meditation. I just want to see if there's anybody online who had an experience when we dropped into that manifestation meditation of, being the awake awareness, being already awake, like coming from that into the world, coming from that place. If anybody has anything you could share about your experience of that. I was taught to count to 7.
Looks like Michael wanted to say something.
Who did?
It looks like Michael was talking.
Oh, Michael's talking. Michael, did you want to say something? Sure.
Hello.
Hi.
No, I was just opening my mouth and I just said it was relaxing. To me, it's just really relaxing. Everything as it is, nothing to do, nowhere to go.
Right.
But you know.
Put on the spot. Put her on the spot.
For me, I feel it in my body. It's like, it makes me want to laugh. It just, it's like joy. That's the best description that I have for when I have that experience.
That is beautiful. These are all the facets of awake awareness, right? Of true nature. That bliss, love bliss, vastness, spaciousness, joy.
And have the 2 qualities that sometimes we forgot. First of all, it's always available.
Oh.
Always available.
Mhm.
And it's always here and now.
That one.
Mhm.
Good reminder, Lena. Yeah. It is everything that is.
It's the nature of reality, right?
That's right.
I mean, what if we turn the dial? What if we just turn the dial from our perception being out there, what's wrong, evaluating, polarizing, seeing, that's that perception lens. But if we just change the dial here to I'm already awake and just hum in that, feel that,
A part of that is this, whatever this is mine. Right? And it's not mine in a me sense, it's mine in a sense of oneness, of connection to it.
So then it's both mine? Like, I'm confused about what you just said.
What was your confusion, Colleen?
Were you saying that mind is the?
It's mine, M-I-N-E,
Oh,
not
mind.
mine.
Got
Yeah,
it.
it's
Okay.
mine, it's all mine. It's
Mine.
arising in my
Perfect.
awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and each one of us has that.
Yes.
Just in talking about what you said, Robin, I really appreciate that sometimes you have that and you lose. And the same thing for me. And I was asking Paul yesterday, how is possible? Where do I lose and what's going on? And just doing the exercise here, I got the answer. It's the frequency of fear that kidnap my ability, just per se, is verbal, is not true. But the frequency of fear when I go there, now is like I'm in a cage where awareness is not available because they are not in the same frequency. They are not just per se. So just the awareness that, oh, I'm in fear. Just that uplift my conscious enough so I can be in the frequency of awareness. I just got, because I was being several days that I'm being spinning around certain things that's going on in my life. And I was like, what happened? And I realized that fear brought me to, like, I allowed that energy of fear to permeate my frame, my field. And now that I'm aware of that, it's like, oh, if I'm not feeling this spaciousness, this bliss, this vast love, this allowing, is I'm in fear. It means I'm believing something that's not true.
Right.
And how long does it take me to come back? One breath away. So
Exactly.
it's one breath
Brilliant.
away.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Mm.
I have a lot of fear come up lately. And I've had a lot of love. It's like, which way to look at? So I haven't been here for a long time, and I have such a peaceful feeling being in this.
I'm so glad you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice. Yeah, the feeling of being together. This Sangha today it's I don't know how many are mine, but they're not that many of us, but it's at the heart of the matter. This Sangha is what we can all count on in terms of agreement. An agreement's a powerful frequency, but we have an agreement here about what's important, and that love is important, and that gratitude is important, and that's a contribution that, we don't have to show up here or online in order to participate. But when we do, it gets acknowledged in a way that all of us are, it's helpful to have it acknowledged in that way for all of us to know each other and to participate.
Glad you mentioned that. Because that is so big. I was going to say thank you to everything.
Yeah.
In the morning. In the morning first. Thank you to everything and for everything.
Exactly.
And as the day wears on, I get into business.
Mhm.
Realizing that how important it is to not judge myself, or to realize when I'm judging myself, when I'm not in that state, like when fear gets me, to go, okay, it's all right. But I'm then unconsciously going, oh God, I just lost him.
Compounding the judgment.
Yeah. Criticizing myself.
Right, compounding that I'm out of it now with judgment. Wow, yes, we'll go that first.
Thank you, Colleen. So we're just about ready to go into meditation, and I wondered, Polly, how it would be for you to guide us in that manifestation meditation into our meditation to, you had talked about that, find a symbol of awake awareness for you, and then come back to that we are all together, like in agreement to manifest our awakening.
How long is this meditation?
It's 30 minutes. You don't have to talk the whole time.
Thank you.
Just 29 minutes to be enough. And thank you for the reminder about our commitment, Polly, because it's beautiful to know that we have this place where we can meet in our higher version, the awake awareness of ourselves, and go through love and gratitude together.
Yeah, we're mirrors to each other in that way, which is really good.
Everybody to everybody. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank
Yes.
you, my beautiful mirrors.
So I'm gonna leave the recording on while Polly does the verbal part of the meditation, and you'll let me know when you're done, Polly, just like give me a little tap or something.
You're gonna be here?
I'm gonna be here, and then you can turn off the recording. And then I'll turn off the recording. You won't turn off the recording, and just a reminder that Polly offers these sessions by donation, and there's a basket in the back, and there's also PayPal and Venmo. So please offer generously. We have a few bathroom people, but are you okay if we go ahead and start? Yeah, so we'll go ahead and start.
Aloha, Mom Polly.
Thank you, sweetheart. So happy to have you here.
Love you.
Hello.
Bye.
Whenever you're ready. Okay. So let's close our eyes And closing our eyes, we leave this 3D projected reality and come into the open, dynamic space of our true nature, which is the field of allowing. We know ourselves as this frequency, this presence, this expression. As you consider your state of being as the awake awareness, which is your true nature, feel what it would feel like for you and your sense of what that is, that increased awareness, that aliveness, that awake awareness. Just experience that in whatever way it occurs to you. It has many dimensions. It carries love and connection and ease. This is your true nature, the awake awareness out of which all realities arise. Just using your imagination, experience living in this spaciousness of your true nature, this awake awareness, the one I am. Feel the opening, feel the vastness, feel the love and the ease. As you embody that experience, send that information of that experience into the quantum field, and the quantum field sends back to you a totem, an amulet, a representation, a symbol of your awake awareness. It could be most anything, a butterfly, a bird, alphabets of nature. It might be a jewel, it might be whatever it is, it symbolizes your embodiment and expression and living as the one who is awake and aware. This is your connection to the quantum field, which is the source of the experience of awake awareness. It's the source of your experience of true nature. Receiving this gift, this symbol, this representation of you as awake awareness. Allow that to be embodied and allow that to go inward into the field of allowing. You now have internalized a representation of awake awareness. You're being the one for whom that is your experience. That is your true nature. It is you as the awareness, the love, the connection, the freedom, everything that we value. You are already that. And now you have a symbol that represents that. And so when you sit in meditation, allow the symbol to remind you that you are awake and aware. Know yourself as the one I am. And so it is.